Good morning. You just if your office still has Halloween candy everywhere, Jason chose the wrong time to put a mouthful of M&Ms.
I just unloaded 10 M&Ms into my mouth as that was running, so I apologize for that. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Rise and shine. Jason and Alicia here with you. Hopefully you're enjoying your morning, maybe having some breakfast candy.
Breakfast candy. A lot of people are. John, do you want M&Ms with peanuts, Snickers?
So I did my 7-day forecast, and then I smashed my Reese's. At the timing, Jason, you got to learn the timing.
I know. I got to do better.
Wait for my forecast. Now eat. All right, 44 outside right now. It is, it's warm. We're dealing with the breeze, but we are getting ready to go into what is going to be a very mild 15 days, despite what are going to be 2 cool days tomorrow and then on Saturday. It's today, Thursday and Friday. I thought it was Thursday. 44 degrees outside, 43 up in St. Cloud. Now, they were dealing with some snow this morning, but it's actually above freezing in Duluth, so I don't think there's going to be major impacts up there, just a slushy inch or two on the North Shore. So that's done. We got a little bit of rain coming in here. Marshall, Mankato. I think a lot of this will ride southeast of the cities, Hastings, and down towards Rochester. Very light rain. Then we'll talk about that cool down for the next 2 days and how long that warm-up is going to last in your forecast.
All right, thank you, John. And while John was doing weather, they cleared this crash from the intersection here of County Road 96 and Centerville Road in White Bear Lake Township. You can see it's right off there to the side. They are still blocking. It appears to be maybe one lane. I expect that to open fully back up in just a few minutes. You can see already traffic just now is getting through for the first time in several minutes now that crash is cleared. And I do want to update you on Maple Grove, this stretch of 94. We saw a crash maybe 10-15 minutes ago. That is back up and running smoothly. Jason?
All right, Jen, thank you very much. So if you're just joining us here, we have new election results to report this morning since we last updated you in our 10 p.m. newscast.
So let's get right to Cece, who's live tracking new results from some key city council races.
Hey, good morning. Yeah, so I'm tracking results in both St. Paul and Minneapolis, but first, let's check out Minneapolis. So the only races that haven't been called at this point this morning are in Ward 6, Ward 7, and in Ward 8. And if you're a Minneapolis resident, you know that no winner can be called without more than 50% of the votes. So this morning, though, we're really keeping an eye here on this Ward 8 race, and that's because incumbent and city council president Andrea Jenkins may not get reelected. Jenkins is battling it out with newcomer Soren Stevenson, who has the endorsement of both the DFL and the Democratic Socialists. And with all precincts reporting at this point this morning, Stevenson had 45% of the vote and Jenkins had 43. So those second choice votes are really going to matter here in the coming days. But races 6, 7, and 8 may not be called until today at the earliest. If you take a look over at St. Paul, Ward 1, 3, and 7 will most likely not be decided until later this week. But just from looking at current numbers, St. Paul could have an all-women council for the first time in its history. Alicia?
All right, thanks for that update, Cece. We appreciate it. Well, in the last 8 hours, we also learned St. Paul voters approved adding a 1% sales tax in the city. 60% of voters said yes to the tax, which will be used for improvements to streets, bridges, and parks. The city estimates that over the next 20 years, that tax would generate nearly $1 billion for improvements across the city. And this morning, a huge surprise up in Duluth. Our affiliate KBJR reports incumbent Mayor Emily Larson has conceded the race, making challenger Roger Reinert, a former DFL state legislator, the apparent winner with 60% of the vote.
We're also tracking results from some key national races and elections being called in the last 10 hours. So let's start with the race for governor over in Kentucky and Mississippi. In Kentucky, Democratic Governor Andy Beshear won re-election, fending off Republican State Attorney General Daniel Cameron. And in Mississippi, Republican Governor Tate Reeves also won re-election, defeating Democrat Brandon Presley. And in Virginia, voters rejected Republican efforts to take full control of the Commonwealth. Democrats now control the Senate and the House. That means they'll have the power to block Republican Governor Glenn Youngkin's legislation on issues like a 15-week abortion ban.
We're also following results in late last night from Ohio, where voters decided on 2 hot-button issues. They approved adding the right to access abortion care to the state's constitution. A huge victory for abortion rights advocates in the years since the Supreme Court struck down Roe v. Wade. Voters there also approved making Ohio the 24th state to legalize recreational marijuana. It comes just months after Minnesota passed a similar measure. Now, looking ahead to the 2024 election, in 13 hours, the 3rd Republican presidential primary debates will air right here on KARE 11 live from Miami. Frontrunner, former President Donald Trump, will not be taking part. NBC Nightly News anchor Lester Holt and Meet the Press Kristen Welker will moderate. The debate starts at 7 tonight, right after breaking the news with our Jana Shortle.
Just about 6:06 on the clock here. More of your headlines this morning. We have new details in the last 15 hours about what led to a deadly Halloween shooting in Brooklyn Park that killed two 16-year-olds. A 16-year-old boy is now facing charges. The court documents say the suspect told police one of the victims had left a gun at his home. According to the suspect, when the two met, things escalated and he shot one of the victims. Brooklyn Park's mayor tells us the conversation he had with the victim's family is becoming way too familiar.
It's getting to a point where some kids are feeling comfortable that they feel that they need to have that peace to feel comfortable on the streets. And that's something that we are working hard to get upstream for. But that's the reality, is that there's a proliferation. And it's easy, it's inexpensive for youth to get access to these guns.
Now, police believe the gun used in this incident is the same gun used in another shooting that happened back in July.
If you're looking to start a small business in Minnesota, you're going to want to hear this story. About 16 hours ago, Governor Walz launched a $10 million loan program to help you out. It's called the Expanding Opportunity Fund. You can apply right now through December 15th. Last year, the state saw 61,000 new business startups. Governor Walz and Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan say that the number of people wanting to be their own boss is why these types of state programs are needed, specifically for businesses run by women and people of color.
I'm proud that we're doing this work to support women and Black, Indigenous, and people of color-owned businesses here in this state, because building a diverse and vibrant small business ecosystem is critical to a thriving state.
Governor Walz says this is the kind of program he'll be talking about on his trade mission to Australia next week. He'll be visiting companies that buy Minnesota products and those with business operations right here in Minnesota.
In the coming days, you'll have a chance to check out some of the 2,600 designs in consideration for our next state flag. The committee working on picking a new design says a website will go live this week with all of the submissions, and then the public will be able to comment on the designs. The committee says it will have 5 finalists picked by the end of the month.
Take a look at this. A Grinch hit the Country Lights Festival in Sartell, and now organizers are scrambling to get things ready for the holidays. They say someone cut 90% of the lights they'd already set up for the opening day. Thanks to generous donations, though, they're going to be able to buy new lights. And now they need help putting up all of those new lights. So if you're free tomorrow or Friday, they're calling for people to come on out and help from 1 p.m. to 4. Organizers say they still plan on opening the 33-acre Winter Wonderland on December 1st. So sad someone did that.
Yeah, so annoying.
Well, the Magic of Lights is making its Minnesota debut. It's happening at Viking Lakes in Eagan, one of 7 new cities taking part in the U.S. this year. The drive-through holiday display includes Toyland, the 12 Days of Christmas, Reindeer Road, and they also have a 32-foot-tall Barbie. The Magic starts next Friday, runs through the end of the year. There she is.
When you think of Christmas, you think of Barbie. No doubt about that. 6:09.